So, it's no secret that Dead by Daylight isn't really the game it used to be. What was once hide and seek has become more akin to freeze tag, but with about 200% more name calling than usual. Today I decided I wanted to revisit something that I haven't looked at in about 5 years, and that's Dead by Daylight's tutorial. Before I really get into it, I want to explain something. Live service games like this need to have a tutorial to make you understand the characters in the game, or at the very least, a very confident tip system that will give players information about each character. Another live service game that has been doing fantastic this year is Marvel Rivals, and each character in the game has an in-depth tutorial to help new players understand the very basics for each character. Let's also cover the bloated corpse of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a game that was at one point pegged as an actual competitor to DBD. Even this game has a halfway decent tutorial for each character, and hey, guys, yeah, I'm talking to you, viewer. Can you put your snack down for a second? Thank you. Listen, I downloaded Texas Chainsaw Massacre back onto my console for this video. I think subscribing will scrub away the shame of downloading that game. Anyways, let's just forget about TCM for now. So, we've seen an example of two live service games, one that is extremely successful, and one that fits into the same genre as Dead by Daylight. Let's now step into the official Dead by Daylight tutorial. So, when I first loaded into the Survivor side of the tutorial, I did the first thing a newborn Survivor main learns to do. I noticed very early on that the tutorial likes to stop you in your tracks and show you a pop-up. I found this weirdly frustrating, but I already knew all the information being given here, so for me, the pop-up served zero purpose. I just won't dock them any points for this. The first thing you're taught though is how to look around and how to move. Once the game tells you how to run, you're immediately taught about scratch marks, which, hey, good job. And then you're taught to avoid scratch marks by walking or crouching around the map. You learn how to vault, and then after that, things start to get really strange after you learn how to do a generator. You finish the generator, and then your next objective is to vault the window, and you step into a trap. Rookie mistake. And then the trapper breaks through a breakable wall, which to be honest, took me by complete surprise, because I didn't think that this has been updated since like 2018. So then, the trapper picks you up, and then a Meg bot runs up and gets a pallet save. Okay, weird choice, but I'm sure we're about to be taught how to escape chases, right? Yeah, for some reason the trapper bot immediately forgets you exist and decides to go for the Meg while you just stand there unable to do anything. Next up, you're taught to pre-drop a pallet like it's the semifinals of a comp match and the Applebee's gift card is on the line. The Trapper hooks your Meg E-Kitten, you unhook her, and immediately get into a locker. Trapper finds you, hooks you, and then the game teaches you to try and unhook yourself? So there's a lot to cover here, and this is where I think the Survivor tutorial really goes off the rails. Let's go back a bit, to when Meg got that strong pallet save. I think my biggest question is, why wasn't there like a prompt to run, or have the Trapper chase Dwight? Maybe behavior wanted to teach altruism? That's fine, I guess, we can move past this. But why would they instruct you to pre-drop a pallet like that? Past that, you farm the Meg the moment the killer is around a corner, and then immediately run off to get into a locker. You see what I'm getting at here? You are taught a lot of bad habits in this section that can be hard to break for new Survivor players, and you don't get chased a single time. You're taught to try and unhook yourself, you're taught to unhook the moment the killer isn't in sight, and worst of all, you're shown that hiding in lockers is a good idea. It's like they're trying to create more of the Baby Dwight stereotype. Anyways, maybe you'll have a chase section in the next part of the tutorial. So after you've been unhooked, Meg and you will heal, you get on a generator together, yippee, teamwork, and then you do an exit while Meg just stands there, staring, watching, judging. Oh, wow, that was weird. Sorry, I felt like some evil force just took over me. Anyways, once the gate is open, Meg will immediately leave, and you're given the option of leaving through the gate or leaving through the hatch. I did what all survivors strive to do, and took the high road. Yeah, dude, that's it. But, I don't feel like I've learned this game well enough. Is there anything else I can do to practice? As it turns out, you can play against a bot killer to practice a bit more. I decided to do this and play against the Trapper bot because I was curious just how bad the bot was designed. So I used the survival skills I had picked up over my 6,000 hours in this game to juice this Trapper bot. This included, but was not limited to, me running directly into him and getting fucking destroyed in seconds. Okay, look, listen, hear me out. That just didn't count, okay? I was testing things out. Don't worry, I'm gonna use the information that I was taught in the tutorial to escape this hook. Remember? I can attempt to unhook myself. It's not an issue at all. Okay, the game's making it really hard for me to be a smartass. Maybe the tutorial is good. So, now that I'm more locked in on this baby killer, I'm gonna farm some Twitter interactions by looping him until he DCs. I started this plan by unlocking a chest and getting a yummy dole key. With my trusty key in hand, I decided it was time to humble this trapper. Once he was back on me, it was time. Boom, pallet, and teabag. He left me. How easy. He couldn't handle a real survivor like me. Okay, so maybe he didn't leave me. At this point, though, I'm not scared to admit that I was incredibly scared to go down again, because I could already imagine the clowning I was going to get in the comments. So how do I explain what happened next without sounding bad? Yeah, I got holed by the trapper bot. Look. Okay, it doesn't count. I hold myself, guys. You can't laugh at me. You just can't laugh at me. I hold myself. Anyways, so my old friend Meg unhooked me, and at this point, I was terrified to fail again. I saw the trapper bot coming back to put me in the fucking ground. No more games. I'm locked in. So I should be dead, but the bot just started randomly whiffing? I thought maybe it was a built-in protocol so players can't actually die. So then I did the one thing that any invincible player should and would do. I started a Shack 1v1 with the trapper bot. And then I lost the Shack 1v1 to the trapper bot. So yeah, turns out, was not invincible as I thought I was. And what happens next? Yeah, I genuinely couldn't believe it. I thought there was going to be some cutscene or something where Alan Wake tags himself in and blinds the trapper until he looks like a dehydrated SpongeBob. But no, I died to a trapless trapper bot. And yeah, you can probably laugh at me now if you really want to. Okay, but more seriously though, the survivor side of the tutorial isn't great. There's a lot missing, like, you know, the basics of learning how to loop, or how to look for items in chest, or how to properly play pallets, avoiding being slugged, what status effects means, and weirdly enough, literally zero mention of totems. There's even more than this, but I don't want to hold you here for an hour. It shows you the very basics: healing, unhooking, going next on hook, because you can't play Survivor without rage quitting on hook, and finally, how to do a generator, for like 10 charges. It's not great, but maybe the killer tutorial is better? So, the killer section loads you in as John M1 himself, the Trapper. You're immediately instructed to go to a generator, and amidst 87 pop-ups that interrupt your game, like a mobile game, you learn how to kick generators, pallets, and vault windows. You also learn how to place a bear trap, which, sure, that's fine. Next thing you're taught is to hit a survivor who is just running around an empty field, and this took me an embarrassingly long amount of time, because I was trying to be cute. It's okay, I'm sure we'll get her. There we go, first hit, nice, yeah, give her some nodders, and then we get another pop-up, and now I actively lose where she is. There she is again. Alright, we got it here, first try, no problem. Look at this, here it comes, 6,000 hours. Ooh, big spins, not quite. Wait, no, we recovered. Oh, no. This might be the best survivor I've ever seen. No, we got bloodlust, by the way. Oh, we actually got auto-aimed there. But don't worry, a killer main, like me, never panics. I missed again. Holy shit. There we go, we finally get her. So, you down the invincible Meg, hook the invincible Meg, get warned about Resolve, which I think is incredibly funny, and then you watch Meg be immediately sacrificed from the very first hook, which I'm sure is the future Reddit killer mains want. The hatch opens, and the last bot steps into the trap, and dude, that is literally the entire killer tutorial. Jake gets instantly rolled by the entity, and you're done. That's it. It took about 2 minutes. Yeah, so this one is bad. Like, really bad. You don't learn about bloodlust, survivor endurance, blood trails, hook stages, anti-tunnel mechanics, the finisher Mori, And I could probably keep going, but I'm going to move on now because I think you get my point. But you already know what comes next. In the killer match, I decided to really lock in and teach these entitled survivor bots a thing or two about what a real killer main looks like. We loaded into the Ironworks of Misery, and my game plan was simple. I found all the survivors at Shack and immediately got Shack-palled out of the Meg. After that, I left her because I knew she was a juicer. I found Jake running off at a hill and immediately giga-rolled him. The silly Jake ran to his teammates and allowed me to snowball to Claudette, who no joke teabagged me. So at this point, I knew these survivors needed to be shown their place. But what I didn't expect was for Claudette to use comp tactics. After downing her, I realized it was time to slug. Next we found Meg. Meg challenged me to a Shack 1v1, and upon realizing I was an unstoppable force, she comp cornered me. And this time, Dwight had picked up Jake, who I immediately found. I decided to go for Dwight, who tried to dumb tech me, and it kinda worked! Anyways, I put Dwight in a hospital bed and left to find Jake. I found the Jake, slugged him, and finally, these survivors had been put in their place by a superior gamer. And that is how the DBD tutorial went. And what did I get for all my hard work? A fucking charm. So, all jokes aside, let's recap. The tutorial for both roles is incredibly bare bones. There is so much that is not being taught to new players, things that are going to eventually come back and bite them. Strange that in the lower MMRs where Know It is so effective, nobody's gonna know what a totem is. I can't be the only one who thinks that, right? Anyways, so why has no real improvements to the tutorial system been made? Well, I think it's because behavior expects someone else to teach people these things.
Hello friends, this is Odds, according to a recently edited Wikipedia article.
Hello, my name is Ghost, and I want to introduce you to my little pal.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Chucky video. So this week I wanted to give back to the community a bit.
And I wrote the guide on the character, so I've been trying to post a little bit more content here on the channel.
Hey, look, we're in the actual discussion part of the video. So, we're at a point where the Dead by Daylight content creation scene has so many people in it that it can be genuinely overwhelming at times. And hey, I just want to say, genuinely, thank you for choosing to watch this far into my video. I love doing this, and it's people who enjoy the videos that keep me motivated to improve. This content scene has so many wonderful people that are interested in teaching new players and find joy in doing so. You can find mains for whatever killer you want. You can find so many incredibly lovely Survivor players that want to teach new people from the ground up. And I think this has replaced the conventional tutorial. Because now, players who are interested in Dead by Daylight could go outside of the game and gain access to creators that can teach them way more about the game than they'd ever learn inside of it. While this helps creators out, it's not really a good thing for the game necessarily, because not everyone is going to do this. I shouldn't say it's not good for the game, it's not the best situation for the game itself. I would argue that most players give up rather than investing serious time into a game that is so complicated starting out. This is so important because coming this summer, the biggest chapter Dead by Daylight has ever seen will be here. Five Nights at Freddy's desperately needs to be a hit for DBD, because if not, there will be so many potential new and returning players that were lost. I'm concerned that the new player experience will be hurt by the downright terrible tutorial that the game has. I mean, come on guys, TCM has a better tutorial than you. I can't believe it. TCM, come on, it's just a bad game. And if that all falls on content creators to teach new players, so much could go wrong. Some creators play in ways that are considered toxic. That's not me calling anybody toxic, that's just playstyles that the general community doesn't like. This leads to more players playing in those disliked ways, and then we have yet another layer of the us versus them garbage that has always polluted the community. While I would argue that the vast majority of creators promote very healthy gameplay and are very open to teaching new players, we've all seen the people who stream exclusively to ragebait or upload videos exclusively to ragebait. Granted, that may seem a bit doom and gloom to me, and fair point, but do you really want the next generation of DBD players learning to do stupid shit like this?
Alright.
hey, if you're interested in seeing more goofy shit like that, twitch.tv/Kassir. Link is in the description. Anyways, while a lot of creators, me included, we love teaching people how to play the game, and you should never feel afraid to ask questions about the game to a streamer or YouTuber. I still think that Dead by Daylight should give new players more tools to learn how to play the game early on. So the changes I want to propose will be similar to something you'd see in a hero shooter or, I can't believe I'm saying this, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Guys, come on. They have a better tutorial than you. You have everything else better except your tutorial sucks. Ugh. It's a simple to understand, yet somewhat in-depth guide to each character. Since I have the most experience on this character, I'll use the Nightmare as an example. This is an extremely fast creation to show how I would add a tutorial type system for each character. Obviously, the official in-game one would need to look a lot better, because Behavior is a company with employees and I'm just a bimbo with a laptop, but this gets the idea across. You're given enough information on each killer's power and how to use it. It doesn't let you know about the tech that lets Freddy phase through survivors, it doesn't tell you how to time your ruptures, and hey, you can check out my Freddy guide when that gets posted to learn all about that, but it gives you the tools and tells you how to use them, but doesn't really hold your hand. That's enough where the player doesn't feel completely overwhelmed, but can gradually add more and more to the repertoire until they learn how to properly play the character. Survivor has a bit of a difficult time because all survivors play the exact same, so you can't really tell someone how to play them differently. The good news is, though, beginner looping is actually incredibly easy to teach. This is just one example of tidbits of information that can be made consistently available to survivors. I'm not trying to say that these are perfect examples for teaching players. Generally speaking, the best way for people to learn is to simply play it themselves, but it can literally do nothing but help if we guide them towards what they should be doing. Dead by Daylight is already an extremely difficult game to learn. Learning new things for players like me, who have dedicated so much time into the game already, is just difficult as it is. I can only imagine how bad it is for new players coming into the game. So this one actually ended up being pretty in-depth, and I didn't intend for it to be it at all. It was really just going to be that first bit where I was just kind of goofing off in the tutorial. I don't know, I just kind of got passionate about the lack of things in the game that people can dive into and attempt to learn. And I think it was worth bringing up since Five Nights at Freddy's is on the way imminently. The last thing I want to say before I close this video out, I don't think Behavior is going to be adding any new resources for new players. So to my fellow creators that are bigger and smaller than me, please don't blow anyone off who is asking you about the basics of the game. Be patient and kind, because it's someone who doesn't have the same amount of time put into the game that you do, and they are going out of their way to try and learn the game. If you are someone who is new to the game and you are trying to learn, do not hesitate to ask questions in the comments of this or any other video, or in Discord servers, or in streamers' chats. People will help you learn, because unfortunately, learning in-game is incredibly difficult when it really shouldn't be. And that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like. It would help me out quite a bit. Subscribe if you enjoyed. The community Discord and Twitch channel are both linked in the description. My name is Kassir, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Fuck you, bitch.